Oye, Trina Christine Mason here again. So, I'm getting a lot of visions and a lot of ideas. I'm coming up on my 30 days clean of smoking marijuana, and I feel extremely clear, and I've been able to concentrate and to sit still and to meditate and to provide much more cleaner energy for other people, in my personal opinion. However, I do still believe in the medicinal properties of marijuana, and I am not one who is going to, dictate you and tell you what to do. However, there are many people that would agree that smoking anything is not necessarily what's best for you. Not that so much that different plants do not provide healing properties. So something that I noticed in the process of doing this is I came across this old contract, like this old fake contract. When I was a little kid, like that's like little Trina like signature, right? My signature is not even like that anymore. And look, like I was so young, like we could do the math, right? I'm born 92, this is in 09. I'm a young kid, and these people try to say that they're gonna pay me $176,000. And I wanted this to be real so bad. And it's a big part of my trauma. So like, let me just finally eliminate this right then. Right? Let's release some of those energies and recycle that, shall we? So this person from that Fan Studios had found me on Craigslist at the time I was advertising myself as a model and attempting to seek out like professional avenues. Like my little kid self literally had no idea, like, how can I, just a girl from this small little town of Plantation, suddenly become an extraordinary model and entertainer. So I kind of put myself out there with headshots and as professional images that I had at the time, and I ended up running across this gentleman who had the words like F-U-C-K-Y-O-U down his head like a mohawk. And this person proceeded ahead to engage with me and meet with me at what seemed like a professional studio or like professional office, right? And this person, like even with me being underage, had me spin around butt naked and examine my body for scars while also proceeding ahead to like basically mess with my head. I also recall having experiences where my boyfriend at the time had dropped me off there. He was really mad at me and telling me how, you just want this to be real so bad. And so those words repeat in my head all the time. And I didn't realize it, but my makeup was running all over my face and I was crying a lot, right? So this guy, he takes me to a bar and he tells the bartender how my boyfriend hit me, and she hooks me up with a drink. And then I have conspiracies that this person may have put like something in my drink, because I remember going to the bathroom for a minute and then him making like commentary about storing like, drugs inside my pet possum's pouch and like all these different like really weird things. And I recall him like engaging with me and attempting to get me to like dance for him and to do all these other things. And I remember the exact Rob Zombie song that this person had encouraged me to do these things to. And I didn't have a conscious recollection or understanding at what was happening to my subconscious mind. And this was just like on top of some things that had already happened, such as me being touched in my sleep by my friend's brother when I was like about maybe like 15, 14. I want to say it's before this event because in 09 I had shaved my head into a mohawk for the first time. I guess you can say their subconscious cries for help or attempting to be seen, to be understood, and to understand the uniqueness of my own personal path. However, as I have grown as a person, I have realized that there is only one person in this world who's ever going to truly love and understand me unconditionally on such a deep, intimate level as I wish a lover could, and that is myself. And of course, divine source, okay? So, with this opening, just giving you a little bit of insight of just some of the things that I have faced on my personal journey in my attempts to become a model, actress, entertainer, even though I've had a small little sliver of success. So I became kind of obsessed with, some would call, The Way of the Shaman, which is a book by Michael, I believe it's his name. I have not actually began reading this book. I'm actually like looking around. I'm like, where is that book? And it's recently been gifted to me, and it's in my like never-ending list of to-do things, right? I'm like, this is one of the many books that I need to read. And this all began thanks to my father, my dad, Papi. He had began his own journey working with ayahuasca and working with shamans in Peru. And then, I want to say 2 years ago? Maybe a year and a half ago. I don't know, I'd have to do the math. However, he took me to Peru, and we went on a great journey out to Machu Picchu and to meet with a shaman. And I had my own personal experience with ayahuasca, and it was very powerful and very sacred messages. However, I know that I've made videos about that already. However, if you need me to re-go over that, I can totally do videos based on all of those different experiences and all the beautiful messages that I received from Mother Aya from that ceremony, and include some of the negativity that had occurred. I don't believe I've actually made a proper video journal on that whole experience. And that's just like the ultimate base and root of like what started this journey. And basically being unsatisfied with that journey led me to another human being, and it was a woman, and she worked with a male partner at the time who I describe as call drago, while also simultaneously being like very domestic violent and like sexist, you could say, because his energy and the ways that he was toxic towards women and just like strongly narcissist, I imagine you could define him as. So not being fully satisfied with those 2 ayahuasca ceremonies, and at that ceremony in America, they had also proceeded to hold space and do kambo, or should I say kambo, K-A-M-B-O? Okay, this is a frog medicine, okay? It's actually a frog poison, and you can look into this, K-A-M-B-O. And on my journey of kambo, I witnessed this gentleman who was in the military just severely go through purging, and there was like this extreme coincidence of it starting to rain heavily, and this person just laid in the dirt. We were all inside. However, they brought this gentleman outside because he was just purging so hard. And I imagine that they left the medicine on a long time after my ceremony, my 6th ceremony, which I will show you my current marks. Let me try to come in closer. Kind of looks like the sun symbolism and also the moon. The sun in astronomy, or should I say astrology? And then just a little like symbolism of the moon. So let's go on. Okay, so this is my 6th treatment of kambo. I've done it 5 times before then with one gentleman who is my shaman in Miami, who has been one of the most sacred healing male energies I have ever worked with. And for me, being a sexual abuse survivor, it's been very common for me to align back up with those same identical frequencies. However, I have believed, or come to believe, that part of my purpose is to put those energies into their place and to train these gentlemen into being decent human beings and to know proper boundaries despite what happened to them due to their mother or their sisters or whichever energetic imprint has caused them to completely hate and disassociate with the female entities or the female part of their own embodiment. So I'm hearing, as a connect to divine source, for me to simply just get superiorly personal, because I cannot imagine as many people who I can barely speak, right? I can barely imagine people who are identical to me. I mean like that I can envision tons of people identical like me. However, I don't imagine them telling the complete truth as I'm about to express to you as my ceremony had gone. It's going to cost me a great deal of humility, and I'm rather confident that this will be beneficial to some of you who may need to just know about all these different levels of the experience. So every single time I've done this, you throw up. We call it getting well on the way of the shaman, okay? This is your purging, your releasing. So the 5 times I've done this, I've never had experience like this, okay? And there's never been this much space held for me. And I mean, it's been done in very sacred, healing ways. However, this woman had her own deep, intimate connection with the medicine and her own amazing vision. Her name is Catherine. If this is resonating with you, she's located here in St. Augustine, and I will be more than happy to provide her energy and information for you so that you may become connected to work with her. So, Miss Catherine is also, I believe, a social worker. So she has extensive training in working with CPTSD, chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, and a lot of other psychological or like inner child wounds. And I believe a lot of this comes from her own personal healing and things that she's done for her own personal work. So even though she may not have children, she had been a superior motherly energy for me. So we have ceremony, right? We start talking, we start exchanging energies, she starts knowing a little bit deeper about me, and then we get to the part where we apply the medicine. And this time is where things get very different, because I am instructed to spit on the kambo stick, to use my own saliva instead, where Jose uses water, okay? So the first spit I totally miss. And I just thought it was so funny because it brought like my BDSM play into it, because I'm extremely fascinated and interested by, swabbing spit with people, like the whole making out, kissing, swabbing energies in that way, that sacred energetic space of kundalini transferences, or whichever way you choose to translate the lovemaking, or just like the transfer of that type of engagement. So I'm spinning on the medicine, right? And then like she's prepping it, and she like goes to burn me, right? And when she burns me, like she holds it on firm and goes in. I wonder if the difference here with them two is that Jose gets the stick much hotter and that the heat burns you deeper, or just like differently, should I say? And the burns are kind of required in order to receive the medicine. And yes, this is a very special sacred practice, because I have read that supposedly, and I've read this only online, I've never heard this from an actual kambo practitioner, is that if it accesses the bloodstream, that it can exterminate you. It can kill you. So this is a very serious, sacred thing. You definitely don't want to be applying this medicine without proper assistance, without a proper guide. And working with Catherine has just kind of shown me a whole new, deeper level of having a true guide lead you in. So allow me to also translate the last time that I worked with Jose, that after doing the extensive inner work that I have done, part of my process was me having my eyes completely open and seeing like all black, like I could not see. And I basically started to like nod off, right? And this is when he removed the medicine and didn't allow me to go with the medicine. He doesn't believe that we are to go with the medicine. Catherine is the opposite. She believes that we are to go with the medicine. We are to talk to the medicine through the ceremony. She also repeatedly checked in with me. Where is the medicine now? Okay, so basically as soon as like she applies the medicine, like I feel it, like it's burning, right? It's like it's stinging, it's on fire, and it instantly my throat swells up and my heart starts pounding and I'm breathing through it, and like I'm not purging, I'm not barfing anything up. And then like I'm just very honest with her, okay? I was like, man, I feel like I need to go number 2, and like, but I don't feel like I'm gonna go when I go in there. So she was like insistent, like, let's go to the bathroom, you know, and I was just like, no, like my inner kid's fighting it, like I don't want to go, and like I wanted to like just hold it, right? And then basically she checks in with me and asked like consent, like, you know, do you want me here with you or do you want me to go? And then like something told me to simply allow her to be present. So mind you, I'm on the toilet with my pants down, with a bucket between my hands, and just like it's basically coming out both ends. And yeah, she leaves this medicine on me for an extremely long time is what I would say. Okay, my little kid self just wants to say extremely long time, but my only like problem here with myself right now is saying that like my little kid self, okay, so some of you don't really understand what this means. So because I have done this medicine so many times, doing it this way was like a childlike experience, because I'm like, I've never done it this way, like what, like everything's so different, like everything is just completely different. And so like we're leaving the medicine on like much longer than it's normally left on. Normally, right? I mean, when you go to the Amazon, things are so much different, and I'm hearing that, and I'm also called to do that as well. So I will be saving up my resources to gather a plane ticket and to go to the Amazon and to learn how to take these secretions from the frog itself. However, please allow me, excuse me, to continue. So I'm working with this medicine, and oh man, it's just like a super energetic level. I mean, it's a non-hallucinogenic, and but man, did I go deep within myself. And like another part that was very important is, so after I'm purging, she's encouraging me to continuously drink water, which Jose had also done before. However, like Catherine was like super mama and super like more. And then when I became to a point of dry heaving, it was encouraged for me to drink more because I was dehydrated. And yeah, every time I drank, I purged a little more and I went a little deeper. And this brought back a lot of childhood memories, because in my youth and in my development of becoming the healer or the energy worker or whatever you label me, right? So what would happen to me is, like, before I had ever done any drugs, any marijuana, right? Ecstasy, things like that I have experimented with in my youth, that I would purge, like I would dry heave, and like especially when I went through breakups or I was around toxic energy, like what, like, you know, I would get extremely sick, and it didn't really make a lot of sense. I'm just like, oh. And so now whenever this sicky energy comes up, I'm like, oh, there's like shaman energy here, you know, and there's like a lot of things or times that the energy works its way through me. Like a lot of times when I'm at work in Casadega, or if I'm working with a private client, these sicky feelings will come up and I instantly know like, oh wow, this person, they need to purge, like they got this stuff. I'm the type of empath that like the feelings become my own. So for a moment you may feel in ultimate bliss and samadhi and just you feel fine and like your pain is gone, but I have taken the pain on myself. And then I try to use this into my awareness and to separate myself and give you your energy back. And sometimes it's easier, like you could say imagined or intended. And it's most empowering. It's empowering to be able to be such a space holder and to be given permission to take on the energy for those who grant me permission and who are also empaths and capable to provide that same healing for me, vice versa. After, I do believe that to be a equal energetic exchange. Not everyone is going to be able to pay me financially for these services. So I am simply holding space and doing my best. There is a strong belief system, though, that when people are coming to you for healing, that it's best for them to pay. This shows that they are invested and that they are committed and willing and like connected. That's why it's not like recommended for you to always pay for someone else's massages or to like pay for their healing journey and things like that, because they have to be personally invested. I mean, you could send them cash, but they have free will. You see what I'm saying? So like they have to really be willing to go within. So like a lot of times people who have been sexually abused, you'll notice that they run away from touch. And sometimes there's like traumatic injuries from like being in the womb and from before the womb and a lot of things like that. And there's like a lot of other energy healers who are more professional and capable at going deeper into that. Though, allow me to finish my combo story, okay? So this experience is happening, and then like, I guess you can say my eyes start rolling back and like my body starts shaking a bit, you know? And so she's like checking in, and she's pouring water on my head, cold water, and making sure that I'm okay and I'm still with her and I'm coming through. And it kind of got too much for me. And so I was like, please take the medicine off, like I'm ready. And like when she took it off, like it took me like a few minutes to like come back, you know what I mean? And I usually like come back like really quick, you know what I mean, like normally. So like this is happening, and like she's so intuitive, you know, she's a medium or clairvoyant, clairsentient, and she asked me like, you want to go in the shower? I'm like, yeah. So I immediately start like derobing, and like I start running hot water and like allow myself to connect to that energy, and instantly the hot water is kind of rejuvenating me and bringing me back. And like I'm intuitive, you know, so like I started to like vision a candle. So I asked her, can you bring me a candle? And she just held like all this infinite space, and then like basically I'm in the bathtub, and now telling the story kind of brings me deja vu. I remember being a little girl, and I was in a really traumatic instance because I was really in love with this boy named Zach. I called him Zachariah. He was a Jewish boy who had beautiful orange hair and beautiful freckles and had great appreciation for my possums. And he basically had abandoned me. I had given him permission to come live with me and my family. And when I wasn't home, he had disappeared with all of his things. And it was just a really big, like, neglect and abandonment scenario for me, and a lack of communication. So my child self, like, mind you, again, like I was like 15, maybe even younger than that. And yeah, like, even though Plantation is said to be like a wealthy community, I mean, look at Extension. I mean, there's like a lot of like ghetto energy and like drugs. And I had friends who were involved into that scene, and it had come unto me to have the opportunity to have ecstasy. And man, that time period was so strong, bringing in all of my psychic gifts and my sensitivity. I was like hypersensitive, and I was like, I know this may sound paranoid to other people. However, my best friend, Chris, at the time was there with me. While, mind you, I'm in the bathtub, and like I'm like processing it. It's like the bath has always been my healing place, you know, and like my friend is just like holding my hand and with me through there. And like I'll never forget, he told me this joke that was like stuck in my head my entire life, as you can tell. And he goes, Trina, you want to know how you tell real tits from fake tits? He's like, real tits float. Right? Like stoner talk. And my intuition starts going off, and I'm like, dude, there's a cop outside your door. And I swear, like, I mean, like, it's not like a cop was just, like, hanging out there, but, like, there was, like, a car, a cop car just, like, posted up outside, you know? And, like, I think they might have just been checking their computers or something like that, but, like, something told me that this was going on. And that was, like, one of the first times in my childhood that I really had, like, a deep connection to myself where I was like, huh, something's going on here, you know what I mean? And, kind of telling the story of Catherine kind of just brought me back to that memory of the bathtub and having, like, that sacred space of, like, having someone that, like, I can be the full, vulnerable, authentic self in front of without any like shame or conditions or humility. And Catherine kind of like did that for me as well. And when we were done with ceremony, like I basically got dressed in the changed clothes that I brought, and we started to discuss like all these different things, and she provided me with information of a kambo training that's coming up, and we kind of talked a little bit more extensively on that and other energy healers and just like how I can provide this service. And like I kept thanking her repeatedly, basically like how much she was like a teacher for me. Like by me getting to work with a female who does what I wish to do, it shows me like a mirror of like, wow, this is how I want to be. So like if I continue this journey, just know that like I'm going to be there for you, and I'm not going to abandon you when you start like going to the bathroom on yourself and start like childlike regressing into yourself, you know? And I'm going to like check in with you constantly and repeatedly and make sure that you're doing okay and that you're in a consent place. And then if I feel you're going into a dark place, I am going to be Catherine the best way possible that I can, being that light and having that deeper understanding, that deeper connection, and be like, I don't, you know, like being able to know, like even when you don't know that you've crossed your own limits, you know. And many thanks to Catherine. And I will be going on with that kambo training. I have went ahead and paid my down payment, and it's a total of $700. It's something that I totally am wishing to do for my birthday. I feel like it's my like calling, part of my birth purpose is to be able to provide these sacred medicines for people and to channel my Cherokee Indian energy, or just like Trina's energy, Trina medicine towards you. You know, I call myself Trina medicine because I know that I'm a very special medicine. Like the way that I do things, you know, working with crystals and flowers and lights and food. Like, I'm a very special medicine, and for some I am bitter, for some I am bittersweet, and some I am just so sweet. Ho'oponopono. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. Ho'oponopono. Thank you so much for the opportunity, for allowing me to share with you what I have received. I understand it may not have been the most pleasant to hear and to have to visualize me going through those personal experiences. However, I am beyond thankful for them, and honestly, I would do it again. I actually regret taking the medicine off so soon. However, I also thank myself for knowing my own personal boundaries and being able to communicate with Catherine of telling her no, not now. So I do hold the intention in the space of going back in deeper. I'm not sure what's going to come up with my kambo training. It's going to include 3 treatments, so we'll see what Victor and Natasha have for me. And I'm very excited to be learning self-application and to also be learning how to provide service for others. I'm also very fond of their calling of me to come to the Amazon and to ask the frog directly for permission to work with its medicine. So thank you so much again. Ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono, ho'oponopono. I love you. See you later.